Hey everybody, it's Alex from Alex and Erika's channel. Today we're talking about how to spend 2 or 3 days in Rome before your cruise. This is one of the most common ways people experience Rome on a cruise vacation. When cruises say they depart from Rome, they're actually leaving from a port city, Civitavecchia. I can never pronounce that, but the port is about an hour to an hour and a half outside the city depending on traffic. Because of the distance, Rome usually isn't a quick port stop. Instead, most travelers experience it before or after their cruise. And if you ask me, the best way to do it is before your cruise. Flying in a couple days early gives you time to adjust to the time change. It also gives you some buffer time in case your flights are delayed. That extra time can make the entire trip much less stressful. I also like ending the land portion of the trip by boarding the cruise ship. Once you step on board, things suddenly become easy again. Your meals are included, your room is ready, and your luggage disappears. You don't have to worry about transportation or planning every detail anymore. And if you're flying into Rome from North America, there's a good chance you'll arrive in the morning after an overnight flight, which means you'll probably be going to bed tired. Our strategy is simple. We try to drop the bags at the hotel, we walk around a bit, and then we try to stay awake until the evening. That approach usually helps reset your body clock faster. We'll grab lunch somewhere near the hotel and explore the neighborhood a little bit. Nothing too ambitious the first afternoon, just enough movement to stay awake until after dinner. Before we talk about the itinerary, there's one thing I want to make very clear. Buying your tickets in advance. I really can't stress this enough, especially with Rome. Some of the biggest attractions sell out on a regular basis. For places like the Colosseum or the Vatican museums, tickets can sell out days or even weeks ahead of time. When that happens, you'll see huge lines outside. Some people end up waiting 2 or 3 hours, and that's not how you want to spend your time in Rome. So the easiest solution is to book your tickets online ahead of time. Pick your entry time and walk right in. It saves time and removes a lot of uncertainty from your day. I'll include links below the video to some options that will make this much easier. Also, if you show up to the Vatican or the Colosseum, for example, and you see a large line, make sure you ask if you have your tickets already, because usually those long lines are for people that are buying tickets the day of. If it's your first time visiting Rome, your first full day usually starts with ancient Rome. This includes the Colosseum, the Roman Forum, Palatine Hill, and all three are located right next to each other. Because they're so close together, it makes sense to explore them all on the same day. Plan about 3 to 4 hours for this area. Guided tours can help bring the history to life, especially for the kids. The audio guides also work really well if you prefer exploring at your own pace. One thing to keep in mind is that Rome can get very hot. During the summer months, there isn't much shade in the ruins. Bring water, wear comfortable walking shoes, and plan a break afterwards. A good lunch nearby is always a nice reset. And then your second day usually starts at the Vatican. This includes St. Peter's Basilica and the Vatican Museums. The Vatican Museums are one of the most visited attractions in the world. So again, buying your tickets ahead of time can really save you some time. And then after visiting the Vatican, the rest of the day can be spent exploring Rome's historic center. This is one of the most walkable parts of the city. Many of the famous landmarks are surprisingly close together. It becomes a great afternoon wandering through Rome. And then you'll probably want to visit places like the Pantheon, the Trevi fountain, the Piazza, Navona. This is the part of Rome that feels like the postcards. Small streets, beautiful piazzas, and outdoor restaurants everywhere. And of course, gelato shops appear on almost every corner. This is when Rome stops feeling like a list of attractions. Instead, it starts feeling like a place where you just want to slow down and enjoy the atmosphere. And then if you have a third day in Rome, I wouldn't rush to add another big attraction. Instead, slow the pace down a little bit. Explore neighborhoods like Trastevere. This area has a great atmosphere and some excellent restaurants. You could also visit markets like Campo de Fiori or take a walk up the Spanish Steps. Sometimes the best moments in Rome are simply sitting in a local piazza with an espresso. One thing many visitors don't realize is that Rome has free public drinking fountains throughout the city. Locals call them nasoni. The water is clean and constantly flowing. If you bring a refillable bottle, you can refill all day long. And another thing is to know that dinner in Rome happens later than in the US. Many restaurants don't really get busy until around 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the evening. So if you try to eat dinner very early, you might find fewer places open. While you're here, try some classic Roman dishes. Carbonara and cacio e pepe are two of the most famous. And of course, plenty of gelato throughout the day. Food is a big part of the Rome experience. And if you're traveling with kids, keep a few things in mind. First, there's a lot of walking in Rome. It's common to walk 8 or 10 miles in a single day, so be sure to wear comfortable shoes. Second, many streets are cobblestone, and that can make strollers a little challenging in some areas. And third, gelato breaks help a lot. Sometimes a quick snack break resets the entire day. Once you're in the historic center of Rome, Rome is actually very walkable, but transportation becomes important when you're arriving with luggage, especially if you're traveling with kids. So getting from the airport or to the cruise port requires some planning. Options include taxis, ride services like Uber, train connections, or private transfers. Many cruise travelers choose the private transfers for the simplicity, especially when traveling with multiple suitcases and kids. When it's time to head to the cruise port, travel time is usually about 90 minutes or so, and traffic can really vary depending on the time of day. So giving yourself some buffer time makes that morning a lot smoother, a lot easier. And then most cruises begin boarding late morning or early afternoon, so you don't need to leave Rome extremely early. But allowing plenty of travel time helps avoid unnecessary stress, especially on embarkation day. Rome is generally a very safe city for visitors, but just like every major tourist destination, pickpocketing can happen in crowded areas. So places like the Metro, the Vatican, the Trevi Fountain can attract pickpockets. Staying aware of your surroundings and your belongings is critical. Rome is one of these cities where you could easily spend a week and still not see everything, but with a little planning, 2 or 3 days is enough to experience the highlights. And you get to enjoy the history, the food, and the atmosphere. And then once you board your cruise, you can relax. Let the ship take care of the details while you continue the rest of your vacation. It's a great way to transition from exploring Europe to cruising the Mediterranean. If you found this video helpful while planning your cruise, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We share cruise tips, port guides, and travel advice based on the trips we actually take, and it really helps the channel grow. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this video helps you plan your amazing visit to Rome before your cruise. And if you have any questions or tips from your trip, feel free to leave them in the comments below. We always love hearing from you. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you soon.